One of the best little bits of inventions I've ever seen when it comes to fencing. Today we're keeping it classy. We're on the Massey, heading over to our other farm. Going to do a wee bit of post driving. This morning it's just gone 8:15. So what my intention is, we're going into what I call the big hill. There's 15 or 16 acres in that. But what I do is I split it up the middle, and that way I can strip graze then both sides. So it allows me then to kind of manage the grass that comes on that field afterwards a wee bit better, or a lot better. Rather than trying to run strip graze fences the whole way across, because it is quite a big field. So I find it very handy just to split it in half and run my fences then to both sides, if that makes sense. Normally that's all been battery fence all the time, but now we have mains fencer. We only have it running on a small part of the farm so far because it just didn't get time to actually extend it. Well, silage grass was growing on them fields. I didn't want to be going in driving through them when before the silage was cut. But now I'm going to be going in and I'm going to be running posts and wire up along the drain of that field. You'll see me at that now in a while, and we're going to be putting wire, and then you see we have an underground cable that's coming out there. If you remember back in our other videos when we were building that shed, we run a kind of an ESB duct which carry the cable into that particular field. So we're going to be hooking that up, but then we can have electric running that fence that's up the middle of the field. We don't have to rely on battery fences. So bit by bit we're adding the electric to the farm. So it's the day after, and I'm back over here. My heifers is just behind the hedge here, starting to roar. They want in here. A nice paddock here, small paddock, but a nice wee area for them to do for the next maybe 2-3 days. They'll get it there. So today's Saturday, so that'll do them till Monday or Tuesday anyway. There's plenty of grass on it. They've loads of grass where they are yet. It's just when they see me, they associate me with food, so they're going to roar naturally. We're going to be going back up now and wiring this piece that we seen me post driving here yesterday. But before I do that, I'm just fitting the actual battery fence onto this. I'm going to explain a little bit about the difference between battery fences and electric fences. Main reason around here is I put in a mains fence. So you mind there any that are following us when we're doing our build of our new slatted shed on this farm. We never had ESB before on this farm, but you see there now, we're now connected to the grid, so we can afford to put in electric fence. We buy our electric fences and our battery fences or any of fencing supplies mostly off Gilmore Fences, which is in Swans Cross, County Monaghan. I highly recommend his fences. As I said before in other videos, he has never asked me to mention anything about his fences, and he doesn't need to on my videos, but it's passed down from his father. His father used to sell fences and repair fences for my father. Do you remember the old round fences? Would they have Volac or Volcac or something like that, if you can remember? There was a green one and a grey one. Sometimes you used to start them, you'd have to kind of give them a kind of a to get them going, and there was kind of pints on them. You used to jump from place to place, or whatever way it worked anyway, but you used to have to get the pints reset and things, and they were nightmares, so they were. But his father, I think it was his father, started making fencers, and I bought an electric fence off him a little over 20 years ago, and we bought our first mains fencer for home, and that fencer never came off the wall until the day I traded it in for a larger one. And that's the only reason I traded it in. We had more electric up through the farm, and we just traded in for a larger size. My fencer was as good as the day he gave it to me. He gave me more than half the price back for my fencer, because he knew what it was, and he knows how to fix them just instantly when you're there. He can fix your fencer instantly when you're there, and that is just brilliant, because a lot of you guys are using battery fences, you want to get it fixed and you want to get it back as quick as possible, because otherwise you're going to have to get a replacement. So he can fix minutes, he will fix your fencer. There's nothing he can't replace, especially when it's his own fencer. That's what I really love about him. There never was one time I couldn't go down and come home with my fencer. Never, just never happened. So this fencer I have isn't the first line that I would have got, and this one's probably the oldest one I have. 2 of them at home. I used to have 3, but the first fencer I had was one that worked with the battery inside. So you had a square battery that sat inside this unit, very same, only a little bit deeper, and it run off that. But I was going 3 batteries, once every, well, I suppose 1 battery every 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks I got out of a battery. Try to keep the battery as level as you can when you put it in. It's fine there now. Now another thing I bought, which is a charger. I bought a car battery charger. Don't know the make of it. They're all kind of basically the same. So I bought a fairly good quality battery charger, and so battery will do me 6-7 weeks, believe it or not. Them big batteries. I have smaller car batteries that wouldn't just do maybe as long, but I have 3 batteries at home. I have 2 fencers, so I always have a battery charging. I've always got batteries ready to go. I got them batteries in a scrap yard, so I'm not out a whole pile on them. It didn't cost me very much, but far better way of working. Just stick the battery in, turn it on, and away it goes. Now I noticed with these fencers over the last one that I had, which was this he made as well, with the battery that's inside it, these are better in my opinion. There's a stronger whack of them, and definitely they're more practical with that battery, because they're one of the batteries, you're just buying batteries and buying batteries and buying batteries, and if you're using them quite a lot over a bigger area and you're strip grazing quite a bit, it can add up after a while. So car battery, in my opinion, is the way to go. Yes, I'm trying to get away from battery fences completely, but I think in every farm you should have a battery fencer just as a backup, and these are not hugely expensive, and it's worth your while. I'm not going to tell you how much they are because I actually forget, but I know when I bought them I said that seems very cheap, because they worked out a lot cheaper than a lot of the big brands that are selling fencers out there. So don't think that they're expensive, because they're not, but they're worth every penny. So I suggest check out Gilmore Fences. You see it pop up here, the Facebook page. Leslie is the man that owns that place. Give him a shout, tell him who sent you. I have a pair of shorts with me today, and the grass is lovely and wet. It's actually lovely. Yesterday we went to the beach with the family, and it was absolutely freezing, and we got home and it was boiling. It's just the way the thing goes. Come on girls, mum, in you go. On. So that's them all settled, in and done. Now we get on to the next job, which is to get this wire up on these other posts. I'll have to look my cars first and then we'll get tackling into it. So we're up here where we drove the post yesterday. You can see them down there. The GoPro mightn't pick up things too well. Not that great on stuff that's far away, but we're going to pull a wire here the whole way down, and we have a gate here kind of halfway through. We'll just have a quick look at it actually. But we have a gate here just kind of halfway down. As you can see just down there, that's our double gates going into this big field. So what my intentions is, I have a fence running, splitting this field. There's about 15 acres in this field, so I ought to split it in two with a pencil post basically and wire, so that I can strip graze both sides, as I was explaining earlier. Drains, in my opinion, should all be fenced. It's something I should have done ages ago, but you see, I was always relying on battery fence, so in my opinion, the less fence you had up, the better, because your battery fence only could do so much. Yeah, probably could have worked this, but if you were working this and working that middle one, you'd want two separate fences running. And I also, that'd be two, and then I need a third one to run where the heifers is now, because the calves is normally down there, if you get what I mean. So I needed a lot of fences to keep the thing going. But if you remember, we run an ESB duct out across that concrete yard that's up there and out here. So this is our fence coming out here now. It's already powered up, but it's just wrapped up there. There's a roll of it sitting here. And that's it there. It's all insulated, taped up, ready to go. So I'll be running a half tense wire the whole way down along this shuck, because cattle were going in and trampling it. Yes, this shuck needs to be cleaned. Probably would like to get it done before the fencing went up, but the nice grass coming in this field, I don't like disturbing fields when they're growing. So I'm going to leave it for now, and we can clean it again. We can just take down the wire. We don't need to remove the post. Take down the wire and clean it again at any time. But we're going to hook this high tense wire on. Then we get the power onto it, and that way we'll have a nice flow of electric into this field. And then what we can do is we can take a strip graze across from that post there over to where it meets the fence that's going up through the middle, splitting it in two, and that will supply power, because that's, remember, is only temporary. So we'll be taking that back down again in a few weeks time when cattle's finished grazing. But that will work a treat, and then at least we have fence here and we can always pull fences across from the electric. So let's get cracking on it. You'll have to excuse the legs, they don't see the sun very often. When you're fencing, there's always a big lovely briar exactly where you need to put your wire. Yeah, or maybe it's just me. And no matter what way you throw that briar, it's always going to keep coming back. Love them. I almost did it. Can you tell what I've done wrong? Forgot to put on my insulators. When you're putting on these little insulators that are tapped on with a steeple, always put on an extra one. I have 4 posts, so I'm putting on 5. That way, if one of them happens to break or something happens to it, all you have to do is tap out the steeple, slide the other one up, and Bob's your uncle. You don't have to take off the whole wire and start rooting at that. So it's a nice little tip. Just put on an extra one here and there. They're cheap. Might as well put them on. So these little guys are gripples, and this is actually the gun for putting them on, or the tool I should say for putting them on. Quite a simple little thing. What you have is, it's great for, absolutely great for this kind of job. Even barbed wire, sometimes if I get a break in barbed wire, I would tie a bit of wire to each side if there was a gap, and I would pull it together with this, and then I would wrap it with barbed wire. Great. It's great for a multitude of things. You have a non-return, so you can only put the wire in one way, and you can still push it through, if you can see there, but it will not come back the other way. So it's brilliant for tightening wire. There is a tension adjuster there that will stop you from over tightening. You have to be really careful, because you could just literally tighten and pull the whole poles in with this. It's a great tool for tightening wire. So slip it on, a little bit more, and there we are. That's tight enough. A great little tool. All you do then is leave the wire as it is, just wrap it around like that there, it's out of the way. And anytime you want to tighten the wire in the future, just open up the pieces, give it a little clamp, and the wire's tight. Brilliant little tool. You have to get the tool to go along with it for fitting them, but them little boys are one of the best things, one of the best little bits of inventions I've ever seen when it comes to fencing. So I've no doubt there's going to be loads of people saying you shouldn't tie your insulators or egg insulators like that. You shouldn't tie the wire like that. It's going to loosen. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. No doubt, because there's loads of fencers out there. Everybody has their own technique. Mine is not probably the best one. It's by no means the best one, but it's the way I do it. I got a nice neat finish with all my joints. Well, neat enough for my standards. And it's just nice and neat. The reason I didn't go around this post, because this gate opens out against this post, so I don't want the electric wire anywhere near. So that's why I hung the insulator a wee bit longer, to just keep it away from the gate. What I will do is I'll put a piece of wire from that post to there, just to close off that little bit of an area that won't be alive. Cattle, when they get used to electric being on, and they know that it's on the top, they will not touch that one below. Definitely, just as long as they don't get the habit of electric fence being off. They're all nailed on now in place. There's a couple one post up there, just have to knock the top off a little bit with a chainsaw, just to level it out, but otherwise it's fine. As I say, people will say about them knots and things I use, if that was pulled hard enough, it will start to unwind. Absolutely. What I can do is I can pull this through and stick it through there and pull a knot on it, and that will stop it from happening. But my case, don't need to do it, because I'm doing this all the time, and I've never had any wire ever loosen. Not when it's done like that there on the high intensity wire especially. I've never had an issue, so I've no reason to do it any other way. I know I've seen YouTube videos, I know there's other ways of tying it, there's special knots, and Jesus, there's any amount of them, but this works for me, and this is what I'll stick by doing. All I have to do now is do the long bit, very same thing again, the whole way down to the bottom. That took me about 20 minutes to wire. That didn't even take that. I suppose with camera footage and taking camera shots and things slowed me up a little, but down here I'll get this bit now done, and I'll show you the finished result. So that's that piece up there as well. So we've that run down the whole length of this field. Just straightforward, there's nothing complicated about putting on that stuff. But here at the gate, we've piped this crossing underneath that gate, and what I could do is I could run an underground cable, take it from there underneath up the far side and power it onto this side here. Very easily done, no problem whatsoever, only that's not the way I'm going to do it. This fence eventually is going to run the whole entire around the bottom of this field and over to where you seen them heifers just earlier on, so I can electrify that area as well. And what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to knock this area off when it's not being used, so when there's no cattle in here, there's no reason for that electric to be on, just so it can save using it in other parts as well. But it's nice to be able to turn it off in different areas and not always have to have the whole fence on at the one time. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to get one of them spring gates, if you ever see them, the electric spring with the handle on them that I've used up here before up in the slatted house, and I'm going to put one on that'll cross that entire gate, and that will actually, I think, work better. I could just get a piece of wire and a handle. The reason I don't want to do that is this is a silage field, and you know yourself, you could fire it into the shuck and not get it in the whole way, and next thing the harvester picks up the wire. You don't want that. So just put up the spring, it's nice and tidy and easy, and that'll finish that part off. That way then all I have to do is power the spring from this side, and then when I hook it onto that side, it will power the rest of the wire the whole way down. So when I hook it off down there, that's it, that whole part is off, and I think that'll work really well. That's the idea anyway. That's the way I normally do my fencing, so I can just hook off areas here and there and just cut the power where it's not needed. So that's it. It's just gone 12 o'clock. I'm going to go home now, get a cup of coffee, and start into a couple of other jobs I have to do at the house. But you get the general idea of the fencing. If you notice, they're all Creedisol posts now. I don't use other posts anymore. They're just hopeless. I would never entertain them. If the yard was full of them and there wasn't a single Creedisol post or treated post in there, I'd come home with nothing. I wouldn't buy them no more. I'm just replacing far too many of them as it is, and I just wouldn't entertain them. So hopefully we get more uses out of these. These are 7-foot strainers, as some people call them. So I put 7 foots on the corners. I drove them down nice and solid, so I have a great kind of a hold. A lot of people say, would you not put up maybe a stay pushing out to keep the post from pulling in? I don't think that post is going to pull in, to be honest with you. I've seen that over time and time again where I've never moved. I know when you get a good solid grip, and when I'm putting in the post, I kind of always slant the post. If you can see there, I always slant the post away from where the wire is going to be pulling. So if the wire is pulling inwards, the post is always slanted outwards. That way it's got a bit of resistance on it all the time when you're putting it on. Monday my Jeep's away in for repair. It's under a warranty repair. I think it's a water pump or something that's wrong, but there's a bit of a squeal coming out of it somewhere, and I might as well get it fixed now before the warranty runs out. So it's going off on Monday, so a few just little bits of runs and things to do on Monday. So I wanted to get this kind of done and out of the way, and a few things wrapped up. But it's done now. Glad to have another job kind of ticked off the list. So folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel out an awful lot. Give us a like, put a comment in the comment box below. You can follow us on Instagram or Facebook. Until the next one, we'll catch you again.